to the TV show where we cover House of Cards on Netflix. I'm Steve Zaragoza.
I'm Philip DeFranco.
Elliot Morgan.
So beware for major spoilers, because we're going to talk about the next 2 episodes, as we've been doing in the previous episodes.
Today we're talking about chapters 20 and 21, I believe.
Indeed.
If you guys want to get caught up on House of Cards or any of the shows we've covered on TV Show, you can go to netflix.com/SourceFed and sign up for a month of free streaming.
For episodes 20 and 21, we start off with a anti-Underwood campaign.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
I was in another room.
Trustworthy?
I was in another room when this episode came on, and I was like, is Netflix running an ad like HBO does? And Tiffany was like, no, it's like a political thing.
Although that would have been really cool if Netflix ran a bunch of like fake campaign ads. I wonder why they didn't do that.
Oh, an interesting way
You should ask Dr. Netflix.
Hey, Netflix, what's up, bro?
On the note of this like anti-Democrat ad, it's like, they're ruining the White House. He invited this joker in to the family, and he's screwing everything up too. And then they're like, where is this freaking money coming from? Because it wasn't one of those attack ads from a candidate. It was one of those attack ads from like a Coalition for America type of thing. And so they figure out, they're like, all right, we got to figure out where this money is coming from and cut it off immediately. Which goes to show, furthermore, the politics is a whole freaking lie, because they're not sitting there going like, oh, we're going to like dispute these claims. We're going to cut off their money.
They said that they didn't have enough to justify like going against these attack ads, right? I think that was what it was.
I think there's like one line where Linda says she's going to like do some counter thing, like figure out whatever that counter move is going to be, but they don't go into it. Their focus is on finding whatever this money is, which leads to the casino.
The casino, where you see Doug.
And then we have Freddie getting offered a franchise for his barbecue joint, and Freddie's like, what? And the guy's like, I can make you rich, son. And he's like, get out of town.
What is that accent for Freddie? Freddie sounds like a sad dog. That's
Get out of town.
No, that's a drunk dog. What are you doing?
Well, he sounds like Wyatt Burp from American Tail 5 Goes
Dude,
West.
did you skip like
No,
40 minutes into
Freddie's
the episode?
seen some shit in his days, and he's like, he has the sound that, his life beat him up, but he beat life back.
Yeah.
He's got I'm too old for this shit.
I got my shack of
But yes, but he's like, what, you want to buy this place because of like an interview? And so he's thrown a little off. Then we cut to Doug, where he's at the casino. He meets another former alcoholic, and they have a little sexy time.
Yeah, but it's like, what's Doug doing at the casino, and why is this Native American man watching him on the cameras, and then why does he want them to follow him around and find out what he's up to while he's there?
And the reasons for some of those things are as follows. Basically, the gentleman who owns the casino is an older gentleman by the name of Lanigan. Lanigan owns the casino, and he's believed to be the culprit behind a lot of the financing that's happening. Unfortunately, what they're discovering is that Tusk is in cahoots with Lanigan and is using the casino to funnel large portions of money into various hands to support anti-democratic ads.
Boom. Because when you turn on Tusk, you get it.
You get the...
When you turn on Tusk, you get the fang.
No, but that's why I said it. Whatever. I don't care about the Indian guy at all.
Yeah, it started to go a little off for me, too. Right. Like, I didn't want more shit introduced.
Yeah, this is Underwood, like... He wants to find a way to pin it 100% on Tusk. And so that's happening, and then you got that lady that's like making calls, and she's finding out that maybe he's an investor.
Oh, you're
Tusk
talking about
is
the
an
reporter
investor.
lady.
The reporter that has not run away, been murdered, or in jail.
Yet.
Yet.
Because this is a house of cards.
Seth seems to be semi-interested in her, but not in like a Doug-like fashion.
No, but we also... Oh, well, yeah, you're right. It's not creepy at all.
It's political. It's like
political.
that classic, like, hey, it reminded me a lot. You guys watch The Newsroom? It reminded me of like the relationship that they have in the newsroom between a lot of the reporters and the other side of that.
Yeah, and so she's digging, and then Doug takes a plane from the casino to where? Shanghai?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, yeah. To visit Fang, go talk to Fang.
Yeah, and he's there for a minute, and he's like, let me think about this. And then he tries to send him 2 ladies of the night. And he's like, I'm busy.
Yeah.
I'm busy trying to sleep.
I thought that was going to end a lot more poorly for Doug than it did.
You thought they were going to try and kill him?
I thought that was...
Oh, really?
I was so creeped out by all that. Especially when Fang was like, see my garden. We are busy. We do not appreciate it. I thought at that moment that Homeboy was going to kill Doug and bury him in the garden.
Well, I know, especially when he was like, no one doesn't accept hookers in my house or something.
Yeah,
like
you refused my gift.
Wait, was that verbatim?
No one doesn't accept hookers in my house. Written by Steve Zaragoza.
And not plot.
And space. Character scene. Interior White House. People are having sex.
Everyone gets naked, and it's like super hot.
I got this idea for a web series spin-off for House of Cards, and it's just somebody a lot dumber writing the same
You guys
series.
haven't read my spec script for the next season of House of Cards? Lots of cool shit happens. Arnold Schwarzenegger's a cameo.
Yeah.
Just a cameo.
Wait, and then Seth, of course, a big thing that comes out is Seth comes clean.
Yes.
Yes. To Underwood.
Yeah.
And
That he's working with Remy.
And that's the thing that makes him, really, really interesting, because you've been wondering where he stands. Obviously, he could still be a wild card at any point, but he understands, I think, Frank's point of view, that power is ultimately the thing. He knows he could go somewhere else.
And what's interesting in terms of this episode, too, is you get this scene where Seth is like, power is better than money. But then later at the end of the episode, he's trying to convince Lanigan to like get on his side or whatever and stop funneling money to the Republicans. But Lanigan is like, no. Tusk can offer me more money than you can ever want. And Underwood's like, but wait, like, I can give you, like, I have power, like, I have people, like, I have an art, like, I have all of these things. And Lanigan's just like, no, like, I like money.
But that's based off his whole thing where he doesn't trust a white man.
Totally.
Yeah, like
Right.
But it's just, it's funny to see, like, because everybody in this show is so power hungry. It's kind of refreshing to see somebody who just really
about the
likes
money.
money. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
so-
like simple in that.
Yeah.
I like it.
But Frank sees the benefit in Seth working with Remy because he can kind of get like the other angle of what he's up to, Remy and Tusk are up to on their end of things. So it works out for Frank, even though so now that he knows, it does work out for him and ends up being pretty beneficial.
And on the social aspect, the Underwoods are trying to manipulate the presidents and get on their good side.
It's
one of the
evil.
most brilliant, like, manipulative moves that thus far. And they invite them over to their house, and they're like, "What should we eat?" And like, "Let's have Freddie cook us some ribs. It'll be more homey. It'll be like, you know, personable." And it's just so gross how it's all calculated. And then Claire starts talking to, I believe Trisha is her name. Is that?
Yeah, Trisha. But before we even get to that, we have to talk about how the president is so mad at Frank because he finds out all that stuff with like Fang, and then Francis gifts the president a punching bag, and was like, because he felt like he was his punching bag basically, and the president's like, "Duh, I can't stay mad at you,
I thought
Frank."
that was, talk about unbelievable. I thought that was one of the most unbelievable moments
Really?
thus far. Yeah, because I feel like when I saw that, I was like, that's like a slap in the face. Like,
I took that as like, because his whole thing, he was like, if you want a punching bag, like I will remain here, and so it was like kind of like, I think, a humor thing based off of like a really tense moment.
I guess I could just go either way. Yeah, because in that tense moment, it would have been one thing if, like, during that moment, Walker was the one who was like, "You're going to be my punching bag right now, and I don't give a crap. I'm mad at you." And then he got him, and then Frank got him. But, like, the fact that Frank was the one who initiated the punching bag metaphor, and in doing so, invalidated what the president was saying to him, and then got him a punching bag, which kind of like reinforces that.
But the way I saw it was the president hadn't realized that that's how Frank felt, as if he was the punching bag.
But also, we're dealing with a president that I think we've at this point understood that he kind of goes with someone else's opinion on something.
And he's not very smart.
And so like
it
and so I think it was his way of putting himself in as like the smarter guy, kind of like how Tusk had done over the course of 20 years.
Sure.
In the sense of like, you are crazy, you're beating me up over something that you don't need to be beating me up over. But even like it's calculated, and then you even see the dinner is the perfect manipulation, not only because of the way they set it up, but because all of a sudden you have the first lady questioning the president regarding this female employee for him, and then they get there and he's edgy about it and sensitive about it, and then you got Claire saying maybe you should go to like someone to, you know, a counselor.
Well, she basically said, she's like, you know what, the presidency isn't gonna last. What's gonna be forever is your marriage. And it's just that kind of like bull crap, like, listen, like we're in the same world together, but at the end of the day, we're really wives. And of course, she now has this friend and the first lady who doesn't have any friends. It's just brilliant.
Yeah, but again, Claire is also like almost as manipulative as Frank is, and she's perfect at it.
Yeah.
And we have Trisha and the president, who are basically like the dumbest people in the world.
No,
They're not the dumbest people
They're
in the
just
world.
very easily persuaded. Like,
I think that's a lot of people, though.
Well, that's true.
Because like all of a sudden in the
That's
other
true.
room, you have Frank like looking cool somehow with his like reenactment.
with
of
his
the Civil
toys,
War.
basically.
Yep.
And he's like impressed by it, and he's like so impressed by it, he's letting Frank pour him like way more booze than he should have.
Yeah. Oh, and then he says like, you don't have to call me Mr. President. Like you can call me whatever his first name is.
Too much respect for the office to not call. It's like shut up, Frank.
Yeah,
you don't have any respect for anything.
Yeah, he's a really good ass kisser. Basically, he's just very, very good at it. Which is basically the bridge between when the president was super pissed off at Frank to going to his house for dinner, and they're talking about how this is where Eisenhower decided to drop the bomb, basically, and this is my thinking chair. Is it making you think of anything? And Frank is like, no, not really. Nothing's coming to mind.
And they laugh and laugh and laugh.
Yeah, it's very jovial, and they're a couple of best friends, and now everything's fine, you know, and then they're over at dinner, and then, you know, but he's still trying to, you know, get him fired and impeached so he can take his job.
And then jumping back to Doug, much to my surprise, not being murdered by Fang. Fang is like, look, if you cut off the funding to the or I'll cut off the funding to the Republicans if you get the Port Jefferson Bridge built. And then all of a sudden I was like, crap, there's that dang bridge again that I don't understand. But at this point I was kind of all caught up.
And then we jump into chapter 21. We've got Remy hitting up a former employee of Claire to see if they can get any dirt whatsoever, because Seth hasn't been really anything for him because Seth's been playing Remy.
Yeah.
They digging around, and then we cut back to Rachel and what's going on with her thing, and she's with the God Girl, and they're getting kind of close, and they're talking about very personal things, but Rachel's very careful to not reveal much about her life because she doesn't want to accidentally talk about creepy bald Doug and reveal that shit going on.
But it does give Steve his favorite parts of the series, because Steve is a 12-year-old boy.
I just like this so much because they're two really pretty girls, and watching them make out and like have sex was like pretty cool, bro.
Then we have the tribe trying to get status so that they can all of a sudden make a casino. Then we have the girl that said that she was raped by the same guy as Claire coming into town, and so Claire's been talking to her, and it is this very weird handling of it, because this girl, obviously she's been hurt the same way Claire has, but she's also a normal person.
Right, but
Claire.
she's also got a lot of anxiety, and she's too afraid to go on camera to really talk about what's going on.
Which plays into her being a normal person.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Of like, oh, this is a massive, massive deal.
And then in this episode, we see a lot more of Linda, who's been very much a peripheral character this season. She was more, she was a bigger deal last season, but she's coming back because her and Underwood are having a little bit of a tension going on with the president and offering him advice, and she seems to think that her advice carries the same way as Underwood's, which apparently it doesn't. And so, in light of that, and in light of the direction that the administration as a whole is going, Linda offers her resignation, which upsets President Walker, and he has to decide whether or not to accept her resignation or not.
Also, something else that happened, Remy is, he wants a serious relationship with Jackie, yo. He's not just a piece of meat.
I like that. I like that you have the older woman who's just like, no, you're a distraction, and I'm going to have sex with you when I want. And you have the younger guy who's like wanting to go for the relationship.
I did like that too. You're right.
Because I think they, like, those guys, as much, like, he's always doing something, she's always doing something. They're so lonely.
Yeah. Also, you see this like really weird moment between Megan with the anxiety and everything. You see Claire get very aggressive.
Oh, yeah, she sure
it's
does.
Like very uncomfortable, and again, you see Claire with ulterior motives in everything that she does.
Although, which is kind of, and this might be the first time we see Claire kind of using her desperation, because I compare her and Frank so much because they're both so calculated and so manipulative. But when we see Claire kind of lose it with this poor girl, you kind of think, ooh, that's something Frank wouldn't really do. He would keep his cool, but you could tell that Claire's frustrated because she wants this all to work in her favor, the whole rape allegations thing, and getting this general guy. Yeah, it just kind of shows that with Claire kind of losing her shit on this poor girl, it shows that she kind of doesn't have as much of an angle on her manipulative ways as Frank would. Because that's definitely not something Frank would do.
You think so? Because I think that it goes along with shark trying to lead fish. You know, it's much easier for them to eat them and destroy them. But also, I don't know. I mean, there's not much she could do in that situation.
Right. Well, that's why I feel like she was kind of like losing it. She was like, okay, I've lost control of the situation here. Now I've got to be like, listen, you've got to do this shit. This is important. And to me, it seems like Frank would have handled the situation a little bit different. It seemed like she was just at the point of like, she was backed into a corner, so she had to.
That's why, though, they're such a good team. That goes all the way back to episode 4. Still my favorite episode. Where Claire's like doing it by herself, and there's this moment of like, oh, Frank would never have let that happen. She would not have let Claire admit to an abortion, but then Claire, in her own way, manipulates the situation to her whim, and it works out perfectly.
Yeah, and
That's
then,
true.
but I mean, so she's having issues with her. She's worried about losing a battle, and then Frank does lose a battle. It was over the tribe trying to get appropriation, and then the other tribe that was funneling money, it was like, oh, we'll just absorb them.
Yep.
They're gonna be a part of our tribe again. Go screw yourself. And then Frank throws a stake into the pool. End of scene.
Well, and then he was like, you see how the dog just ran for that steak or whatever. I forgot the point he
Dogs are
was
so
trying to make.
predictable.
The dogs are so predictable, yeah.
And I think that's the thing is, I mean, Frank, he can be set back and things can mess him up, but right now, he's winning the game.
Yeah.
Like he's winning.
Which I think is what basically the episode ends on, with Remy and Tusk being like, all right, like Underwood he's too powerful. Things are going too well for him. He's a slippery little dude. Let's go after him hard.
And that's Mrs. Underwood under the sheets. What's gonna happen next?
I don't know, but I like that lesbian scene a lot.
And if you guys want to watch House of Cards with us and get caught up in all them TV shows, go to netflix.com/SourceFed for a month of free streaming. You can also click these annotations. Be sure to click like. Helps us out a lot. And let us know what you think of the plot up until this point, which again is chapters 20 and 21. And we'll be back next week with 22 and 23.
Yeah, you got it, bro.
I was hoping it wasn't going to happen.
Also, let us know in the comments what you thought about that cool lesbian scene.
My name's Philip DeFranco.
I'm Steve Zaragoza.
I'm Elliot Morgan.